it up. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bunker Nation live, Bunker Live with the Bunkers. It's me here with my wife, Danielle, and the Bunker Nation thing going on. Hey, everybody, come on in. Say hi. Hit the like button. The like button is paramount of importance. How you doing, Mrs. Bunker?
I'm doing well.
Yeah,
Doing well.
it's actually not hot compared to
Yeah.
what it was during the challenge.
It does feel pretty good.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad.
We got a little bit of a 12-volt fan blowing down some air on us, powered by the Yeti 150. So, hey, everybody, if you're here, type in where you are into the comment section and let's chat. This is going to have to be a two-way chat because we have not prepared a long presentation for you. We've been busy. We got up. Hello, Dana from Missouri, from the socialist, Deshaun from the socialist state of New York. I'm glad you have questions. I love that you love our channel. Thank you very much. Fire them questions up. Let's go. So this morning, got up. I went to the gym. This is the end of my first week at the gym, and then we came home, got ready, went to church, did the church thing, came home. I cooked supper.
It's good.
Yeah, we had pork spaghetti from my pig that I butchered during the challenge, and some sauerkraut from the sauerkraut I made during the challenge. I had a stout that I made during the challenge, and we had bread. Hello, email from Hannah. Welcome home, Danielle. All right, everybody. Make sure you type in there where you are and all that. And if you got questions, let's fire them up. So that's what we've been kind of doing. And really, we got down here a half hour ago, and we've just been hanging out, talking, chatting, spending time together because we hadn't seen each other in a while. But guess what? She's leaving again.
I'll be back.
And then she'll be back. And then she'll leave again. Then she'll be back.
I'll be back.
Yeah, the cattle are walking by, so we got that going for us.
The Longhorns say hi.
All the Longhorns, all the pretty Longhorns say hi. Boy, I'm not getting any comments coming in. I thought we had questions. Mrs. Bunker is here. She's here to answer your questions about homesteading, off-grid living, what it's like.
Life with Michael.
Life with Michael, what he's really like. What she would have done in the challenge differently.
I wouldn't have done it.
You're going to have to do it one time. We're going to have to do one.
I'll do one in the fall.
Well, the fall would be a great time to do it. I'm trying to set one up. All right. I've been blessed by the good Lord. I have a good job, and I want to move off-grid for the remainder of my life. How much does it cost to go off-grid? 26-year-old male. It can be as cheap as you want it to be, or it can be as expensive as you want it to be. So here's the thing.
We took the cheap way.
Yeah. So there's a scale from having a lot of money and having no money, and everybody's in there somewhere. We were on the no money side. So if you have no money, you can do it, but that means you live very, very roughly. Maybe get a tent. Maybe get used materials from other people, talk, word around town. You can get used materials. People will let you tear down buildings, save those materials, and you could build a small shed. You could build a cabin. So what we did is we built a small cottage that was like 12 by 16. It was really, 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 really small.
Cabin.
And we had 4 children. And so that's the cheap way is you don't have any money. And you don't spend any money, and you get started by sweat equity, and everything you do is one stick at a time. You put in we actually built, hey, Sue from Virginia, we actually built our first garden fence with just branches that we cut off on the land. Hello, Montana.
Hi, Pat.
And we built a garden fence, and our first pig pens were mesquite branches that we cut down and we sunk them in the ground and we screwed them all together and we got some old used tin and made a tin roof. So that's the cheap way. The expensive way, if you have money, is you buy land, you buy fencing materials, you build yourself a cottage or a cabin, or you get yourself a nice RV, build a shed roof so that you're able to catch water, park your RV under it, or build a cabin so you want to be able to catch water. You want a well if you can afford it, and you want to be able to invest in your animals so that you can get started with animals. So you want chickens for sure, and then you want to see how much land you're able to get so you find out if you can have cattle, and if you can, how many. Do you want a milk cow, or do you want to have a couple of beef cattle? How many cattle per acre has a lot to do with where you're going to move. Um, what kind of cattle you get. We have longhorn cattle, so we can have 3 times as many cattle per acre as most commercial cattle. But there's so many unknowns. So what I would do is like start writing down. Thank you, Dana, for the super chat. Very much appreciate it. So does Mrs. Bunker appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was watching the cows.
But you have to write down what's important to you and what are your priorities. And if your priorities are to get off grid because you want to separate from the world system and you want to not be as dependent and you have some resources, I tell you what I would do if I had money and I was starting this and I was single and I was 26, I would hire me, future me, to come back and tell past me what mistakes not to make. I would love to have had a me to ask questions to. So Deshaun, just ask me questions. Send me emails and ask me questions. But so how much it costs has to do with how much you're able to spend. A lot of people go, well, I can't do it till I have enough money. Well, you're never, ever, ever going to decide to do it if you don't think you have enough money. So
that's like people saying, well, I'm going to have children when I have money. Well, if you wait until you have money and have children, you ain't going to have them.
Yeah, and you're gonna spend what you have, so you're never gonna have enough. But if you feel comfortable now, financially comfortable, then I would do it. I'd pull the trigger on it. I have some money, but I would like to do the sweat equity. What's the best place to live off grid in Texas? Okay, again, there's a lot of unknowns, so I'm going to go through them real quickly for you. As you move from west to east in Texas, you go from harsh desert with less than 3 inches of rain a year into West Texas, which is where Odessa, Midland, up through Lubbock, where you get about 13 inches of rain a year, which is still a higher desert. Then you move to west of where we are, and you get into the 17, 18 to 20 inches of rain a year. We're at about 26 inches of rain a year. When you move east past Dallas into East Texas, you get to 40 inches of rain a year. So we have hardcore pine forest in East Texas, Longview, all the way down south, that are high pine forest that looks like North Carolina. They actually shot that movie Tin Cup in that area, and it was supposed to be North Carolina, but they shot the movie there because it looks like North Carolina. If you what we had to do, because we didn't have money, and so what we had to do is like make a trade-off between how much rain do we want per year and how much money do we have. So let me give you an example. Where we are, we're dead smack dab in the center of Texas. So as I tell people, if you threw a dart and it hit right in the center of Texas, that's within 50 miles of where we live. And don't throw darts at Texas. And the second thing, but everything west of that line is cheap land. You can get land for $80 or $100 an acre. Where we are, it's anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 an acre. 70 miles east of me, and you're up to $3,000 to $5,000 an acre. So, and then going east, the more rain there is, the better soil there is, the higher the cost per acre. So you have to sit down and figure out how many acres you want, how many acres can you manage if you're going to have cattle, and then you can figure out a price per acre, and that'll kind of tell you where in Texas. Now, if I had money and I was going to move, to somewhere in Texas, I would move southeast of here, probably between here and Waco, and maybe just a little farther south, like the Llano, Texas area. They have better soil, a little bit more rain, a little bit more humidity. It's a little warmer. How well do you handle the heat? So that's what you have to figure out. We live right in smack dab in the Central Texas. Central Texas, we have bad soil, so we have to build our soil. We use raised beds so that we can plant in better soil. But we grow wheat and we've grown other crops that have done really, green beans and everything that have grown, and big crops that have done well. Cattle is really king out here, so you can have cattle. Cattle is good for a lot of reasons. You can sell your bulls regularly or butcher them so that you have meat regularly, and you can have some cash. It's good to have cash. You can be separated, but at the same time, we get a bull, well, 1 or 2 every year born. So that lets us butcher one and sell one. If we had more cattle, we'd have more bulls, we'd have more options. Can handle the heat pretty well. What type of vehicle would I need to live off grid? I would get a pickup truck. If you're going to live in Texas, you want a 4-wheel drive. You want a 4-wheel drive, and you do not want a black one. You want a light-colored 4-wheel drive pickup truck. If you can get and have the ability, and you could get something like a lift gate or a front grill, those are bonuses. But you definitely want a pickup truck. Not so much an SUV, not so much something like that, but you want a 4-wheel drive pickup truck. So handling the heat pretty well is great, and you learn how to deal with it, and you learn how to work at the right times and all those kind of things. Hey, everybody that's just showing up, hit the like button. That's a mandatory thing. We have no way to monitor who's doing it and who's not doing, but it's just, you should do it. Mrs. Bunker's here. We should ask her questions. Mrs. Bunker, what is your favorite part of living off grid?
The peacefulness of it, and the joy, the inner joy that you get from doing it this way instead of in the world, just kind of on a treadmill. There's
a certain satisfaction, like today, eating a meal from the pig that I butchered during the challenge.
Drinking a beer
that I made. Sauerkraut that I made.
Eating fresh green beans.
Yeah, and every time that we have bacon and eggs, or we have pork and eggs or something like that, and it's from it never goes away. Never goes away. You get this gush of satisfaction for having done something and then having the product of it. I can agree with Mrs. Bunker. The peacefulness is exactly what I'm in search of. Yeah, it's amazing sometimes. I actually do. And during the challenge, I actually sometimes forget that the world is out there. I get so much into what I'm doing during the day. I'm walking between the cottage and here, or I'm doing stuff with the animals, or I'm working in the garden. I don't hear cars. I don't hear vehicles. There's no reason. There's a whole mental adventure
and that peace gives you you focus on the joy and the peace, and at the end of the day you're like, oh, that was a hard day, but it didn't seem that hard because you have that joy and that peace, and you're working towards something. So if you have to dig a hole, most people are like, I don't want to dig a hole, but you got to dig a hole and then make what you want to make, and at the end of the day you're well pleased with what you've done.
Yeah, and it's also like it continues to give. So if you build a chicken coop, years later,
you're still getting eggs.
You're still getting eggs, but you're also still looking at it going, that did pretty good. That thing's been here 10 years or whatever, I've looked at pictures of the land when we first got started, and a lot of, during the challenge, I tore down the fence that we built around our very first garden in 2006. That fence was still there from 2006. And that, to me, the cattle are like all around us. That to me was like, wow, this was supposed to be a temporary fence. We put it up to last like a year, maybe two, and it was still there. And I had trouble. It's on the video, taking a couple of those posts out. And so, like, when you build your own cottage, when you build your own outhouse, whatever it is, it's something that you didn't go to the world for. It's like you actually think about it. Could someone survive off grid without raising animals? They could.
You wouldn't want to.
I personally would not want to, mainly just because they're so productive. For example, chickens.
Yeah, chickens would be a good starter animal.
Yeah, I would not.
And then you could work your way up.
I personally would not homestead without chickens. Chickens are just too valuable. Their manure is valuable. Their eggs are valuable. Their meat is valuable. If somebody was a vegan, I guess, or something, or a vegetarian, and they didn't, you could certainly do it. I wouldn't advise it. I'm definitely cattle seem intimidating, but you'll love it. You'll love it. Come on out and visit, and we'll walk amongst the beasts.
The longhorn cattle, the true Spanish longhorns, are very gentle. You can walk up to a bull, and he's more afraid of you than you are of him.
Pure Spanish cattle, which are different than most longhorns, are very gentle animals. But come on out and we'll walk among the beasts, and it'll be
they would never hurt you.
No,
they just want to be left alone.
It's not like running with the bulls in Pamplona.
Oh yeah. It's like rattlesnakes. They don't want to be around you, but if you do the wrong thing, they are going to bite you. But if you watch yourself and you walk the other way when you see one, or else kill it if you think you're brave enough to kill it, but they're not going to come. A rattlesnake's not going to come after you. They just do that to make you go away.
No. Longhorns don't rage. Commercial cattle can. Commercial cattle can be very, very aggressive, but longhorn cattle do not do that. Nope.
They'd rather get away
been out
from
here
you.
15 years, and they know the hierarchy.
Now, if you mess with their baby, if you mess with their calves, they can be protective over their calves. But you leave their calves alone.
You just got to be smart, But yeah, I wouldn't be concerned about them being aggressive, just because they're not aggressive.
They would just try to scare you away from their calf.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, they don't see you as a predator, and they don't see you as a enemy. They don't want you too close to them, so they'll move away from you. What's the cost of raising animals? Here's the thing.
Chickens are inexpensive.
Yeah. If you can free range your animals, which means you have enough land, you can raise cattle for free. We have not spent we have not spent money on cattle. Can you think of,
all the years we've been out here with them, and they have been birthing calves, we've never had to have one pulled. They take care of themselves.
They feed themselves. They water themselves.
Weeds, and they eat cactus. And so if you have a year where you run out of grass or whatever, the Spanish longhorns will eat the weeds too.
Yeah, they'll eat the weeds. They'll eat cactus. But I don't think we paid any money for cattle other than
the initial investment.
Yeah, the initial investment, and then
cattle feed sometimes when you want to attract them, because cattle foods are like candy to them.
And that's just if you need to bring them in because you need to pull one off or take it to the butcher or take one to the sale barn or whatever.
Just look over the herd.
Chickens are similar. You could pay. We got a cow just like right in front of the door. You can pay. I know people that pay way more for chicken food than they do to feed themselves.
Well, and it's like people with their dogs. You can either treat the dog like a dog, or you can idolize the dog and spend a lot of money on the dog. It's just the way that you look at.
Send all your dog letters to Danielle.
Yeah, sorry.
So
that's in my humble opinion. That's my opinion, and
with
you
chickens,
can yell at me for it.
If you can free range the chickens, you don't have to feed them that much. You want to probably give them some egg layer every once in a while to stimulate their egg production
and make the shell strong.
But to give you an example, the pigs during the 30-day challenge ate all the chicken food the first week, and we free ranged them most of the time. I was giving them some wheat that we had. Dana says Scottish Highlands so good here. some guy had fake longhorns here and his whole herd died from the elements. Yeah, they'd have to be fake because you can't kill a pure longhorn. But
unless they're just old.
and these are
and
just
they
our
live
opinions.
30 years.
Yeah, but people go broke having cattle because they have commercial cattle and they have to pay for vet bills and they have to pay for feed bills and all that. Since we have pure longhorns, you don't pay to feed them, you don't pay to water them, you don't pay to any of that stuff. They take care of themselves. Same things with chickens. You can spend as much as you want to spend, or you can learn how to do it cheaply. I know people who have done chicken feed by trapping skunks or trapping raccoons and then skinning them and then allowing
Flies.
the flies to lay maggots in them and then they feed the maggots to the chickens. There's a million different ideas out there. Do I offer homesteading classes? Not per se yet, but I do offer a consulting deal that is really, really good. And we got a sale on that right now. Just go to michaelbunker.com/consulting.
And with the longhorns, sometimes in the winter, when you are looking at your land and you're like, maybe there's not enough on here to feed them, you might spend a little bit of money on hay just to get them through the worst part of the winter, and then they're fine.
Yeah.
And just to kind of keep that
and that's if you
fat
have
on
to.
them so they stay warm. I mean, not that, layer of
If it
little
was
bit of fat.
if it was an emergency, I would not do it and they'd still be fine. They're very, very hardy. So as far as money for raising animals, there are people that get really, really extreme and they augment their animals and they're constantly buying specialty food and all that. The more you can do it like they did it in the 1700s, 1800s, and let them live off the land, let them live naturally, the better off you're going to do. Danielle, it's been a while since I had baby chicks. How old before you let them out to free range?
You want to make sure that they at least have all of their feathers and they definitely know where to go at night.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to be out there in the dark chasing them because they didn't go in the chicken house.
How would someone maintain a job while living off grid? What I would probably want to do, especially being if I was a young male, I'm kind of a young male.
Yeah. Get a job where you can work at home off the computer.
Yeah, if you can get a job working at home, but if not, then what you want to be able to do is like get up early in the morning, do all your animal chores, get all that done. Think of it as a workout. So like you're doing your workout in the morning, then you can go to work and do what you need to do, and then you can come home in the evening and do your evening chores. I will tell you that it'll wear you out. You'll be worn out after a while. But maybe what you can do is, like Danielle was saying, find a way to work all or part-time at home to augment your income, or get some type of side gig where you're not having to work 5 days a week
for
and
8 hours.
for 8 hours and be gone from the land that long. But it's not impossible. And I would still do that before I would just go live in a town or a city somewhere, which is not going to happen. So, I mean, I've known people that have done fencing work. I've known people that have,
ranch hand work.
They're
willing to train you in a lot of things. That
home computer work, start a business. So that to me, that would be, one of the things you could do, and it would take a while to get started. Start you off a YouTube channel from the very beginning, and tell people, don't act like you're an expert. Tell people you're a beginner and have them come along on the adventure with you. And maybe after you get good at it, in a year or two, you have enough subscribers. I don't, but maybe you will, because maybe you're more charismatic and maybe you don't piss as many people off. You could have an income coming in from that too. But I would watch a channel from people who are humble and want to admit they're not expert. Everybody is an expert within 5 minutes of them starting something. And so if you go on YouTube, a lot of people that pretend to be experts are not experts at all. We've been doing this a long, 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 long time. And you see people, they're emailing me, asking me questions, and then 10 minutes later, they got a channel and they're all experts. But think about just different ways that you could do that. But if you already have a job and you're going to keep that job, then I would get up early in the morning, treat it as a joyful exercise, get your animal work done in the morning, and then do the same thing in the evening. Come home, make sure everything's watered, make sure everything's put up, and then just enjoy your time on the weekends when you get to spend the whole time.
And then as you go off grid, it probably wouldn't be a hardship for you to go part-time, because when you go off grid, it also cuts the number of bills that you have.
Yeah.
And so it could still be a doable thing to have a part-time job and then, have the time to work on your land and do the things you wanted to do.
Deshaun, I don't know if you've read it, but this is my book, Surviving Off Grid. It's got a lot of good advice in here. If you've read it, then fine. If not, get this book, Surviving Off Grid by Michael Bunker. There's a lot of good advice and philosophy, so that, one of the things you want to do is you want to get rid of debt, and you want to make sure that every dollar that you spend, as much as possible, is eliminating the need for future dollars. So if you can pay off debt, if you can get rid of regular bills, one of the things I warn people in here is that you can get into a trap where you get these animals, then you're paying to feed the animals expensive food from the store constantly, and you end up, rather than working to feed yourself, you're working to feed your animals. And so you definitely, zero debt, man, you're way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game.
Hannah. I agree with you, Hannah.
Yeah. You're right, Hannah. And so, having no debt, you're way ahead of the game. Just make sure as you move into your off-grid life, don't accrue not just debt, but monthly payments. Try to keep your monthly payments to a minimum so that you can live free. You don't have to go, okay, here's the nut I have to make. I have to make $2,000 a month or whatever. The more you can keep your monthly outlay low and start to produce, so you're actually producing food from gardens, from fields, that's that sort of thing. You talk about, or people ask about doing it without animals. You can do it. I'm not telling somebody not to do it. And there is a way where you can produce what other people need. So if you had a big field, like 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 acres, and you could produce hay for your neighbors, find out, what hay's going for, get the equipment and produce hay, then you can use those dollars to buy the things that you don't want to produce, right? If I'm completely honest here, I plan to stay here in New York until I have more than enough money and then take the leap of faith. Okay. Everybody's got to figure that out. What's right for you? Yeah. If you don't like bills, you're way ahead of the game, buddy. Way, way ahead. So that's the thing, there's not a one shoe fits all, one solution fits all thing. And the best thing you can gather between now and moving off grid is knowledge. Knowledge is a tool. And so here's the things to be careful of. Be careful of Facebook groups that are homesteading groups, because a lot of them, it's a bunch of people that don't know anything and they're all acting like experts. That doesn't mean that there isn't some wisdom you can glean there, but there are some tried and true books, and people here can advise books for you too. But get yourself Encyclopedia Country Living, get yourself this book, and just start studying and figuring out what you want, because everybody's different, right?
And your mind's the more you change in the way that you think about things, once you go off grid, it's going to be an easier transition. So the research right now would be great.
Yeah. Do the research and then figure out what you want. Maybe you want to do woodworking. Everybody doesn't have to have 1 million animals and raise a bunch of crops. Maybe you want to have some chickens, just a handful of chickens. Maybe you want to have a milk cow. Maybe you want to have a couple of longhorns. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to do goats. Maybe you want to raise sheep. Maybe you just want to have a few animals, have yourself a nice kitchen garden, and then produce things with your hands,
Well, and it would be fine at first if you just work on your infrastructure and then you venture into animals, because there's certain things, certain buildings and corrals and stuff like that you're going to need for your animals. Just work on making all of that and then ease yourself into animals.
Yeah. And if you decide you don't want to, then just get yourself some hand tools. Get yourself, agrarianism extends into craft. So get yourself a good craft, bench making, cabinet making. There's just a lot of stuff you can do, tool making, where you can produce an income and still be off grid and still live a good life. One of the things I've wanted to do, and I really, 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 really hope that the Lord's going to let me do it, is I want to have a good wood shop. I would love nothing more than to spend a good part of my day making furniture or making things. And
And
even if
there's
they're just
skills
for
that you
me.
can learn from a certain homesteading farm a few hours away from here that they'll teach you woodworking, blacksmithing,
Beekeeping, soap
beekeeping,
making.
yeah, cheese making, and
Yeah.
all of that. They offer the classes, and you go there and you take their class, and then they're always a ready resource to help you out as you learn to do it yourself.
You said you're scared of taking that leap of faith because it's only me, no one else, no wife, no girlfriend, no kids. That's the best time, though.
Get yourself a good dog.
Yeah. Get yourself a good dog and a good bed. But no, I mean that's really, there's not much a better time, because all of those things are going to change
the way you think.
And they're going to change. There's going to be more opinions to take into account. So that's the best time to do it. As far as it being a leap of faith, that's absolutely true. But the more prepared you are mentally, philosophically, in other words, the more you hate the world and the more you realize that the world is detrimental to your freedom and detrimental to your peace, the more you're going to want to do it. And it becomes a visible faith and not just, some kind of vaporous faith. Yeah, like German Shepherds. There's another thing. And
they can guard you too.
Yeah, but you can sell them. I'm not saying start a puppy mill. I'll send all dog comments to Danielle. But I'm just saying there's a lot of stuff people could do out there, but they get their mind in the idea that everybody has to be a gentleman farmer. They don't. You can live off grid and be a craftsman. You can live off grid, have yourself a garden that produces a lot of your food. Maybe have your chickens are so easy. Have yourself some chickens so you get some eggs, so you get some meat every once in a while, and then become a carpenter, become a beekeeper. There's so many things.
Honey. A lot of people are looking for homegrown honey because it's good for local people, with allergies. They need local honey to help them with their allergies.
Yeah, Jess is right. It's better to start on your own before you have a family. That's right. And then you have a package that you can say, wife or girlfriend comes along and say, you like this? Why would you not? Why would you not like a self-sufficient man out there producing, And so I'm just saying, start where you're at and figure out what you want and just go do it. Whatever you want to do. There's things you can do. There's, by the way, there are homesteading classes at Homestead Heritage in Waco, Texas. Even if you live in another state, you can fly into Waco. It's a couple hours from here, but you can get yourself a hotel room. That's what I did. And you can take 7-day classes on everything from building barns, woodworking, timber framing, everything we talked about. They have classes, Homestead Heritage in Waco, Texas. Definitely check it out. Definitely worthwhile. And you could find something that's your passion. There might be something that you just really, really, really want to do. Is it easy to raise a family off grid? I don't think it's easy to raise a family anywhere, but it's easier off grid.
Because you don't have the distraction.
You're not competing with people whose philosophies are opposite of yours. When you raise a family on the grid, especially in a city or in a suburb, there are people who claim ownership of your children who believe that their philosophy is better than yours, and they should have a right to be able to form those children into their own image. And we didn't believe that. So it was much easier for us to teach them self-sufficiency, to teach them how to be productive, to teach them how to do things.
And why we do it differently than the world.
Right, and how to think. All right, start reading books and take classes. That's exactly right. Deshaun, self-sufficiency is a great selling feature. That's right. That's right. I'm telling you. And so here's the thing, it's exciting. you can get paralyzed by thinking that it's fearful, that anything is fearful, and you get paralyzed. You're like, I'm scared. This is an adventure. It's exciting. It's great fun. And you know, it's just so much of freedom. People do have a fear of freedom because there's responsibility that comes with it. But if you can get past that, it's exciting. I mean, the first time we ever built a fence, the first time we built a barn, the first time we built a chicken hatchery, the first time, huh?
Or an outhouse.
Or an outhouse. The first time, every first time is just a huge adventure. You will love having a dog. That's right. So anyways, if anybody else has any questions, everybody make sure you hit that like button. We really want you to hit the like button. There's only 5 likes so far. And this is gold. This is gold right here. Everybody should share the heck out of this.
Don't fear nothing and going broke.
Here's the thing.
Everybody's afraid of that, but it happens to people all the time, and they bounce back from it.
And I'm going to say
they also
something.
Learn from it.
I'm going to say something that's going to liberate you. If you have nothing and you're broke, there's nothing they can take from you. You're free. The worst thing that can happen to you is that you become a free man. People that do this, who have energy, who decide to go off grid, do not become homeless. The people that become homeless are the people that stay in the city because they're afraid of losing everything, and then COVID hits, or worse, and they end up not being able to survive or provide for themselves.
You're less crazy when Danielle's around.
That's true. I get a lot more cranky. Like, my crankiness goes through the roof.
No, cranky. I thought she said crazy.
No. Yeah, I'm a lot less cranky, and I'm a lot more uplifting, but it's an adventure. I mean, it's exciting. And the worst thing that, you know, I tell people all the time, what are they going to do to me? What are you going to do? Go make me go to the bathroom in a bucket?
You still have your dog.
Yeah. I mean, the worst thing they can do to me is what I've already chosen to do to myself. Not have air conditioning? They're going to punish me with my current life? They're going to punish me with not having running water? That's already what I have. I'm already free. You know, if they were to say, okay, we're going to throw you in a prison, so you're telling me I get air conditioning and running water?
And 3 meals a day?
And 3 meals a day? God-fearing young man, amen. How do you go about finding a good, honest, and God-fearing woman? Well,
pray about it.
Yeah, you want to pray. First of all, you want God to be the one that brings you the woman. Second of all, have something to offer. In other words, be of value. The best thing you can do for anything, whether you're looking for a job, whether you're looking for a partner, whether you're looking for a fellowship, is be of value. And but once you start doing this, if you are active as far as social media and telling people what you're doing and excited about it, they're going to find you, buddy. So all you have to do is pray about it. The Lord brings you the right one. That's what you really do. God, who created all of the earth and the whole of the universe by his words, by speaking, is not at a loss for finding you a good woman at all. It's not even hard. The worst thing you can do is you start doing it. You want him to do it. Let him find you, and that one will happen. If you pray about it and you trust in him, do what you're supposed to be doing, make and create something of value, they will find you. All right, Daily Quail back 40 feet, 40 feet farm. When I became debt-free for the first time in 60 years in January this year, after a lot of hard work, it was like a truck was lifted off my chest. Amen. Amen. Congratulations, too. Good on you. Wildwood says, in Texas, are you mandated to have health insurance or pay a fee? No. In California, a lot of people keep their jobs just to have health insurance. There's no mandate for health insurance in Texas. Jess says, Deshaun, you will find one when you just focus on God. And if God is convicting you to make life changes, it will happen. Amen. God is the best matchmaker. Isn't that right?
Yep. I'd given up on men, then I met Michael 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I gave up on men and I met her. I gave up on dating. I gave up on all that, and then I met her.
I said, I just went and told my dad I just want to get my degree and get out of here because there's something wrong I'm doing. And then I met Michael 2 weeks later.
Yeah,
God laughed at my plans.
he does. And people that force it because they don't trust God to do it, they end up making big mistakes and they end up miserable for a long, long time. So that's the truth. And I think you're off to a good start. Your mind's in the right place. You're already thinking about God. You're already thinking about off grid. You already hate the city. You're already way ahead. 26 years old, you're way, way, way ahead.
Yeah, you're way ahead of where we were when we were 26.
That's right.
We were still in the system. Just,
Yeah.
Life is
Dreaming. We were dreaming. God is calling you to go off grid. I believe that. Be more self-reliant, to live an honest, peaceful life. That's what Jesus said. Live peaceably as much as within you, and work with your hands. Well, you'll get there. Just learn. Take the time to learn. Take the time to get your philosophy straight. You already have a lot of it. Not wanting to be in debt, not wanting to be enslaved, all of that stuff. That's really, really where you get started. This here.
Yeah, Deshaun, you need to just be reading where the Lord can form your mind and put your goals in order, and you can accomplish them. And then once you make that step, you've got a plan ahead of you to make it work.
Yeah, and this book will help get your mind clear of a lot of clutter.
And then that Encyclopedia of Country Living, that you just, even if you just like thumb through it and read about some of the skills that she teaches and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a good,
I got a back scratcher.
It's a good way to kind of form and plan, and that would be the first step that I would suggest doing before you just quit your job and say, I'm going to do this. And
hey,
you go out there and,
thank you guys. You made this a great show. If more people were asking questions, all the shows would be as good as this. So that's kind of what we're doing. Danielle's got to hit the road, so we're going to go ahead and call it quits for today. We appreciate the super chat. Dana, thank you for that. Absolutely. We're still trying to pay off a stupid car repair debt, but we're going to get that done. And so
yeah, that Jeff said they were about to celebrate 36 years. He said, yeah, me too. Then met my husband. We will be married 36 years this year.
Congratulations. You got longer than us.
Yeah.
We're
youngsters.
We're coming up on 29.
Yep.
Is that right? 29. Mm-hmm. Woo! All right, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. Lord willing, I will be here tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
God bless you too, Deshaun.
Yeah. And, stay in touch. Email me, message me. Let me know how things are going. God bless you all. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. If I can get my mouse to work.
That one went well.